Hey, everybody. This is Gore Bolton. I'm the CEO and founder of Land Intelligence here in Columbia, South Carolina. We're coming to you today from our studio in the University of South Carolina's Columbia Technology Incubator, a proud sponsor of the studio, which we really appreciate. And I'm here today on a very special occasion. As many of you know, this Friday, November 11th, is Veterans Day. And we want to do a shout out to all the veterans that are out there. It's very near and dear to my heart specifically. My grandfather was a veteran, and he was one of the biggest mentors in my life. He taught me how to play chess. He taught me how to read the stock tables. So at a very early age, he taught me strategy and finance, and I've always been grateful for that. But more importantly, growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, I was always grateful for those who have served our country. And so I'm really, really excited to tell you all today and introduce you all to Jerry Mack. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you.
Jerry is one of our software developers here at Land Intelligence and is a veteran. And so he served 5 years in the Marines. And we super appreciate your service to our country. He also has a spouse who's active duty and getting out.
Yes.
Currently transitioning out. So thank her as well for you all's service to our country. And so I wanted to share with you all a little bit about Jerry's journey that this may help. Some of you may not know this, but I have built veteran hiring programs across the country before. It's one of the largest initiatives in our employment actions, and we just think it's super important to help the folks that are getting out of the military find adequate work and appropriate work after their military career comes to a conclusion. So Jerry, you spent 5 years in the Marines.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, how did that all start? Where did you grow up, and where are you from?
I actually grew up here in Columbia, South Carolina, on the northeast side of town. I went to Ridgeview High School in the Spring Valley area, that side of town, and I actually left Columbia, South Carolina, or when I was 20 years old, and joined the Marine Corps.
Right, and so local to Columbia, South Carolina.
Yep, back home.
And then chose the Marines. Obviously, this is a big Army town. So what made you choose the Marines?
My sister, she's actually in the Army. She's a captain right now. I wanted to choose a harder route for some reason, so I decided, hey, I want to be a Marine.
And where did you do your basic training?
Paris Island, South Carolina.
Yeah, so not far.
Nope.
Not far, but a popular place that people who have been there know what it's like.
Yeah,
right?
very historical.
Very historical. So what did you learn? So you were active duty for 5 years. What did you learn in there, and how did that prepare you for who you are today? What happened there?
I learned a lot about drive and discipline and how to be consistent with your actions. So that's really, that summed up my career, and that's what I carried into the civilian world. And that's how I live my life, and those are the values that I live my life by today. So I think that helps me out a lot, and it's going to take me a lot of places in life.
Absolutely. I'd say one of the things that I've observed in your time with us is just those qualities, but also that, when you're in an office job, especially, when some people think things are stressful, you kind of have that different gear when you've been in the military of like, no, this isn't stressful.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting shot at. Nobody's worrying about, stepping on something, right? This is just emotions, or, this is hard, but this isn't that kind of hard.
Yeah. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
So,
right.
So
Yeah.
stay focused.
And to those of you out there who maybe haven't employed or have military or former military members on your team, I would say as a founder and as a CEO, one of the biggest things you look for is people that you are willing to go to battle with. And everybody that I've ever had on my team that has had military experience, I never had to train that aspect, right? Like they already had that because that had already been trained in them.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And so, what made you, where have you been in the world? Like where have you gone? What have you seen? What are some of your favorite places you served?
So I went directly from here to North Carolina, where I did schooling for aircraft. And once I did that schooling, I went straight to Japan, and I spent maybe 2 years there in Iwakuni, Japan. So that's on the mainland.
Long way from Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. Very diversified. I loved it. There was a lot of activities to do, and I just loved the environment. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is interesting. So I'm curious, where did you go after that? Where was your next duty station?
So where I went after that is Camp Pendleton, California. So that's near San Diego, in the SoCal area, and that's where I spent my last 3 years of my contract at.
And most of your time, what you were trained for and what you did during those 5 years was all centered around aviation?
Yeah, avionics. So I was in the aviation, I guess you can say, not industry, but the aviation for the Marine Corps. But specifically, I was an avionics technician. So I worked on electrical parts, very small circuit boards, software, stuff like that.
Right, gotcha. So hardware and software, the physical stuff, right? Yeah. So is that what kind of led you as you were thinking about getting out? Talk about the thought process prior to getting out. You and I have talked about this before about, the preparation that the military goes through as you are transitioning out, some of the things you were able to, to learn from and benefit from in programs. Talk about that journey as you made the choice, and then as you started looking for new opportunities, what made you choose the path you're on now?
Yeah, so, as I was doing my avionics technician job in the Marine Corps, I noticed that I had a high, skill for systems and stuff like that. So I took that and I pretty much went from electrical systems, mechanical systems to software systems. So I felt like I could tackle that challenge, and that's what I did. There's definitely a lot of programs out there that can help troops transition from military life to civilian life. One of the ones that I would like to point out is the Skill Bridge program. I didn't get to use it myself, and I did regret it. But please, if you're in the military and you plan on getting out anytime soon within the next year, please look into the Skill Bridge program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing that because a lot of times people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And learning from others is really, really important. That's one of the reasons we do this show. That's a great tip to the folks that are out there. So you're going through the program, you're going out, you didn't go through the program, but you had to kind of navigate what you wanted to do next. So talk about your journey now into software and now into coding. And then, obviously ultimately choosing, working at a startup versus a big company, there's a lot of choices inside of that.
Correct.
So just kind of talk about, how that landed for you as far as being able to, stay local. You grew up here, so you have family in the area, and that's important. You've seen the world, right? As the Uncle Sam tour guide, I call it, right? The tour pass. But you chose to come back. And you chose to not only come back to put roots down here and then also work here. So just kind of coach everybody through that, because I think it's an interesting story of how you made those choices.
Yeah, so one of the things that I really took away from the Marine Corps was drive. Just, have a goal and drive and keep going towards it until you reach it. Like I said, I was into electronics. I wasn't into software. Coding was hard, but every day after work, after my electronics job, I would go home and I would code for like 4 hours a day until I eventually hit the goal that I'm at right now. And Drive led me there. Drive was able to get me there. And that's one of the things about land intelligence that I love. One of the land values is drive, or being driven. So that's one thing that really resonated with me. And that's why I ultimately landed on land intelligence instead of, I guess, big corporations or anything like that. So that really resonated with me.
Yeah, well, it's what I like to say about that particular value is everybody wants to get a driver's license, right? Like everybody remembers being 15 years old. So most people, when they think about drive, they think about driving a car. And I tell people, like, own what you're up to, just like you did pestering your parents to get your driver's license, right? Like that is actually so welcomed at a startup environment. And I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, they don't feel like that's theirs to take, right? But everybody watching this, that has either a 15-year-old or everybody was a 15-year-old at some point. That drive element is the difference. And I mean, think about it, right? Nobody had to tell you to sit there to do that for 4 hours.
No.
Right. And so you were drawn to do that because of your drive, because you were interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I find that that's a big characteristic of the difference between people that get overwhelmed and people that get excited,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're excited about something, you spend 4 hours working on it,
Yeah.
right? When you're overwhelmed by something, you spend 4 hours trying to figure out how not to do it,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that's a big difference, and we certainly appreciate that in you. Well, listen, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. To your family as well. You got a family of service members.
Yeah.
And to all of you out there, a very special Veterans Day. To all of you, may you enjoy this celebration of you. We appreciate everything you do for our country.